Good morning. Another little discussion about basic concepts and principles of martial practice. Um, this one's about progression and reinforcement. Okay, so as human beings, we always want to be learning new things. We always want to be doing new stuff. We want to get more advanced in our practice. We want to do the fancy moves, which is super cool, and it's really enjoyable and it's important. However, an equal part of practice should be reinforcement for two reasons. One, you have to be really good at the basics before you can do any of the advanced stuff. That's just how it works, right? And you only get good at basics by continuing practice of them. So once you establish a skill, you master a skill, you move on. You go to another skill that's a little bit more advanced, okay? And this progression should be proper. That's why a lot of systems have ranks, they have curriculums, all that kind of stuff. If you're not in the system or if you're not practicing in a deliberate fashion, you'll end up leaving gaps in your training. So especially for those of you looking to train on your own, try and make sure that you set up a system so that you're progressing from one technique to two techniques to three techniques, from a basic clinch to an advanced clinch, from a basic punch to an advanced punch. Try and get all that laid out so that you can practice deliberately. And then once you move on, say you've progressed and you've done step one, step two, step three, it's important then to go back to step one. Okay? Not just because you need to practice step one again, but the things that you learned in step two and step three are going to make you better at step one. So as you progress through your curriculum, you then reinforce that practice. You go in a circle, okay? Everything's a circle. Progression and reinforcement. So make sure that when you're practicing, you're going back to the basics frequently, and you're going back to re-examine those basics from a perspective of your advanced study. And once you've gotten everything under control, then you progress again, and then you reinforce again, and you progress again, and you reinforce again, and that's how things eventually become natural, which is the ultimate goal of martial training, reacting from a place of no mind, right, where we don't have to think about what we're doing, we just do what we're doing, and it works out well for us. And there's a lot more to it than that, but that's kind of how you get there, a process of progression and reinforcement. And as we were discussing in a previous video, practice and training. Practice and train, progress and reinforce. And complete your martial practice, understand your limitations, understands your strengths, weaknesses, and if you find a weakness, address it. There'll always be more to work on, so you don't have to ignore any of them. Food for thought.